Britain and Israel separately do very well out of FP7. And there are a number of areas where we're already doing stuff together. But I'm convinced that if we can get our act together in this sector and in a number of other sectors, we can together really get a lot more out of Europe. And I think FP7 and its successor offers huge potential, and making a conscious effort to try and get our scientists, our researchers, to work out how we can collaborate to access that funding, I think is extremely worthwhile. The last reason I'm very excited about today is because, like many small boys, I used to be obsessed with space. And I think if the small me could see the big me, relatively big me, having a reception for you, he would have been terribly excited. So thank you very, very much for coming. Now I want to say a few particular thank yous, as well as to you all for coming. One is to my own team, to Adi and Abigail, for all the work that's been put in setting this workshop up. It's exactly what the Science and Innovation Network is supposed to do, and this is a sort of model activity of its kind. I want to thank Saleh, who is the Assistant Director of the UK Space Agency. I've got it written down to make sure I get your title exactly right. And Nili. But between these two partner agencies, we've really, I think, been able to set up a very special day and a very special visit. So thank you very much for partnering with us. I'd like you each to say a few words. If I perhaps start with you, Saleh.
Indeed, thank you. If I can start by thanking Her Majesty's Ambassador for this exceptional sort of reception here, and also his wonderful team, Adi and Abigail, and the wider team of Nili and Ifrat. Thank you very much for sort of doing all this sort of nitty-gritty organisational work to get us here. It's been exceptional. Can I just start by saying that to the audience here, that we're privileged to be here, and it's such a wonderful sort of weather to be in an area where, having been to the Technion Institute, there's so much excellent work that is happening on the space front that Israel has a lot to be proud of. But I think traditionally, like us Brits, you do tend to shy away a little and not express and sort of really fly the Israeli flag and say, we're good at this. I think you need to do a lot more in the European Commission and in the EU, saying we can really do excellent work in this area of space. I think us Brits are also somewhat shy, and we're working hard in the agency to get our boys and girls out and saying, fly the flag and do well. The group that you have here is a mix of industry, the research base, and academia. We have Andy Shaw from the International Space and Innovation Centre. Andy, we have James Barrington Brown, who is from SSBV. We have Phil Davis from Surrey Satellites, and we have Professor Stephen Schwartz from Imperial. We have Professor Konstantinos Kontis from UMARI, or Manchester University, and we have Richard Matthews, hi, from Square Electron. Have I missed any of my colleagues out? Yes. Sorry. And
so you can remember. It's Andrew Fry from Advanced Communications.
Sorry.
I'm glad it's not just me.
It's just it's the weather, I think. So, Andrew, my apologies. What's this all about? Well, we have an opportunity in FP7, the last call of its kind, which has a pot around 130 million euros. And we're looking to Horizon 2020 in a big way. And we know that for us to realise our aspirations, a collaborative and a cooperative effort needs to be ensued. And that can only be done with sort of partners like here in Israel. I think Nili, who I work with in the Commission, Nili and I sit in the Programme Committee for Space in FP7, and I know that in Horizon 2020 we will continue to work together, really do our level best to really sort of propagate the excellent space science that we have in our respective countries. And I think the job for Nili and I over the coming years is to really look at the collaborative areas, the common ground that both the UK and Israel can do in this area. We're heavily reliant on space now. As Her Majesty's Ambassador pointed out, we have a market that's developing around 400 billion by 2030. The UK has an aspiration to capture around 10% of that market. But we know that we're actually not going to do that on our own. We need to do that in a collaborative and cooperative effort. We're good at some things, and some things we put our hands up and say, no, we're not very good at that. Actually, we have to work with partners. And what better partners to work with than the strengths that I've seen today in the Technion Institute and further afield that I've been briefed on by Nili. Outside of the European funding model, there are wider fruits to be had, and that is the industry-to-industry bilaterals. I hope that tomorrow you'll get a chance also to speak outside the box. I think one way that we can work together is to look at what we're good at, to really be complementary in our science and research in the space field and work together in FP7, but also outside of FP7 look to see what we can actually do together in the sort of industry to industry and also the research-based sort of fronts as well. What the FP7 arena does, it brings a collaborative effort on board, because a lot of the FP7 projects, well, the majority of the FP7 projects, you have to do in a collaborative effort. You have to find a partner in a second, third, fourth country. What the FP7 arena does, it basically enables introduction, it enables research to be exploited in the sort of aim of products and services, and in the aims of products and services you can get in new industries, new SMEs, new jobs and wealth that's being created. In the Space Agency we have a growth agenda, and that's looking at taking the non-space sector into the space sector. So you're looking at sort of a person who's manufacturing a widget, a small sort of elementary product underneath an arch possibly, in the UK, in London perhaps, and asking him or her the question, what would it take for you to take your product into the space arena? Did you know that we can actually help you really exploit this product for it to be a marketable avenue into a space sort of dimension? And I think that's the way forward, I think, is bringing new people into the fore and encouraging people to really understand the benefits of space. And I think if you look globally, we've got a population which really is beginning to understand the reliance on space and the derivatives of the fruits of the efforts that have been made in space by you, really.
Thank you very much. Can I give the last word to Nili?
Yes. First, I would like to thank you for hosting this very nice reception, and mainly thank Adi for initiating this whole delegation idea, and of course to Saleh, who kindly agreed to organize the delegation from the UK side. On a personal note, Saleh mentioned we are both known each other for quite some time, as we both sit on the same FP7 program committee. But I think that only recently, during preparations for this delegation, we've come to know each other better, to like each other, and we also found out in our discussion a lot of similarity or common shared points of interest between Israel and UK, and I would like to share with you briefly some of these points. So first, we realized that both our governments have recently made a strategic decision to invest in the space sector. I think the UK government is a little bit more advanced in this decision than the Israeli one, but it's the same direction. And in both governments there is a new look at the space sector as a really engine for innovation, engine for economic growth, as Saleh mentioned, a way to innovation not only in space but also as a spillover to other areas. We've both noticed that in both countries there is a shift from focusing space on mainly defense purposes to a shift now to focus more on the civilian application, realizing there is a lot of potential in the civilian part. We've seen both countries are opening for more international collaboration. So both countries look for independence, but also realize more and more that collaboration is a must in space. We've noticed a lot of course, world-class really academic research, both in Israel and in UK, in astronomy, in astrophysics, in material science, nanotechnology, and the various applications. And also, I found with myself that there is similarity between the character of the industry players in both countries. The industry players in both countries are relatively small, very innovative and very energetic. And in Hebrew we say you have chutzpah, which is having the nerves, really playing in the giants' fields, competing with them, and sometimes beating them. Also in FP7 we see this. And 2 weeks ago I was in Surrey for a conference, and we were hosted by Phil Davis, thank you, at SSTL. I was there together with Meir Chen from IAI and Avi Gal from Bebeit. It was a very interesting visit, and when we came out of this visit, I think all of three of us had the same reaction. The first reaction was, wow, this is an exciting company to work with. And the second reaction was, wow, this looks so much like some of the Israeli startups, successful startups that we see, the same type of spirit. So really, and of course I didn't mention all the areas of collaboration that we've seen, the small and the nano satellites, the remote sensing methods, the debris removal, the critical technologies.
Robotics.
I'm sorry? Robotics. I'm sure we'll discuss all of them tomorrow. So all in all, we see a lot of potential for collaboration between the two countries. And I think we both see the FP7 as a tool, really a framework, maybe the easiest, simplest tool for collaboration, because you have the umbrella. It takes out some of the risk of the collaboration. It allows you, let's say, faster time to market, not to market, but to collaboration in this case, okay? And really increasing the innovation, and then looking after the FP7, looking for additional areas of collaboration in the future for the industry and the academia. So we really have great hopes for tomorrow, and we hope to see some proposals, some joint proposals coming out of this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please have a drink.